Kia koto no mai haere mai. How's everyone doing? I'm gonna get my staff out because I feel like I don't use it very much. I have a toggle for a reason. Thank you, Doc, for 44 months. I really appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. It's very helpful. Hey, Rosalia. Hey, Aya. Hey, Doc. Yeah, you can probably tell I'm a bit low energy today. Yeah, I just wanted to have a talk. I'm not gonna be super organized with it, I think. I'll just kind of meander. You're doing the same low energy today. Hope you can have some restful time and not too many demands on your energy. But yeah. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in the VTuber scene. And there's a lot going on in my brain. It's how it is. Plus, I'd already did most of my tasks for the day. Nice! Hope you can have some time to relax now. You don't have a lot of demands on you. Yeah. I'm probably going to be saying a lot because my brain is not moving super quickly. And that's okay. But yeah, I don't want to like name any names or anything, but what I've been seeing with streamers and VTubers, you know, leaning into hateful rhetoric and hate speech and stuff it's really got to me. I always just tried to block these people, stab them with oxygen, and do my best to amplify the voices of people who are, you know, doing the things that I want to encourage. The opposite of that. The opposite of hate speech. But yeah, it's gotten to the point where, I don't know, it just feels overwhelming. I also just don't like some of the other parts of VTubing. I am someone who experienced childhood sexual assault, so anyone that is playing into attraction to minors, I want nothing to do with. But of course, this isn't the sort of thing that you can make clear to people because there's a lot of brigading by those communities. So I don't talk about it. I don't say DNI in my Twitter profile or anything. I just avoid those people, block as I encounter. But it's come to the point where there are some streamers that really bait this stuff, but they're also really big streamers. And so people that I respect engage with them, and that's really hard to see. I'm not sure what the solution is for that. I'm not calling anyone out. If you identify yourself as having some problematic faves, I don't care. I'm not judging you. I'm trying to figure out how to keep myself safe from that stuff because I'm real tired of it. Them nasties, yeah. Recall one drama hate VTuber kept trying to follow me and was talking shit about trans folks. Tosh that fast. Oh, that's uncomfortable. That's extremely uncomfortable. I hope they've left you alone since, but yeah, I always mute even people that are doing like quote-unquote VTuber news, like, no. They're always looking for tempestuous, like, you know, dramatic topics. I know calling something drama can be belittling. Sometimes people are actually being like criminally harassed, and that's, you know, used for clickbait and views, and I think that's wrong too. Obviously, I want people who are being abusive, corrosive to be called out, but I don't think that it's appropriate to use that for attention for your own content. That just kind of encourages people, really. Yeah, so there are some things that are making me feel less drawn to VTubing in general. I still love my VTuber model. I really appreciate all the work that went into it from Mavely and Liao, who did the art and the rig. And I love my community. I love my magelings. I love streaming. I love playing video games. I don't know, I felt the need to voice that. Because I don't want people to think like I'm just turning a blind eye or whatever, but it's just really hard because calling for people to be accountable. I mean, I can't hold anyone accountable. I can't deplatform anyone. All I can do is block them and say that's not okay and starve them of oxygen. But unfortunately, that takes all of us doing it, and not all of us are doing it. Some of us are trying to use it for our own means. So it's not great. It sucks. And it's just being heightened by everything going on in the world at the moment. I only happen to be a VTuber. It's only because of the broad definition. Yeah, I've never been into idol culture. I've never been into, like, even, like, Vocaloid music or any of that stuff. I'm not a fan of Hatsune Miku. I don't watch VTuber streams unless it's, like, a friend of mine or someone that I admire, like, on a personal level, like them as a person, them as an artist, them as a creative. I respect them, so I watch their stream because I'm interested in them, not their model or, you know, girlfriend, boyfriend experience, any of that stuff. It's just, this is a person that I personally enjoy, respect, admire, and they happen to use an avatar. That's it. That's how deep it is. I have no interest in VTuber culture. I use a VTuber model because it means that I can appear however I want. I don't have to worry if I have, like, skin issues or how my hair looks. I don't have to worry about making myself presentable. There's a lot of pressure on women to appear, you know, within very narrow confines of what is conventionally attractive. And I don't care. I don't care if the internet wants to fuck me or not. I really don't. And I don't want to hear about it. I don't want 12-year-old boys rating me, you know? It's just not something I'm into. So I use a VTuber model. It gives me freedom and comfort and safety. People can't reverse image search my face and find out where I live. You know, it's a safety and comfort thing for me. It's nothing to do with wanting to be an idol or any of that or hiding my appearance. I love my body. That's why I don't want other people to pick it apart. So, yeah. So I'm a VTuber because I want to use a VTuber model, not because I love VTubers, not because I'm a Hatsune Miku fan. I'm not judging anyone who is. That's just not my deal. So for me, I think feeling less attached to the label of VTuber is partly because I just don't feel invested. Like when I see people saying like they have problems with VTubers who are, you know, pretending to, I don't even know, like they're using sensationalism in some way, like either hate speech or, you know, dancing around the topic of pedophilia and that kind of stuff. I don't want anything to do with that. And when I see people engaging with that, even sort of obliviously, it just makes me want to distance myself from those people. And I don't have a solution. I don't know what to do about that. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, I think for a lot of people, they don't think about it very hard. There's a blurred line for them, but it's something that because of my history and because of my interest in social justice, children being genuinely the most oppressed people in the entire planet is something that I'm very aware of. And so I don't know what to do when people that I do respect and that I know are kind are still engaging with people who do these things. So I don't know. It's one of those eternal questions, I guess. What do you do when people seem to be oblivious to something and you know that bringing it up with them will make them feel defensive, and then they'll either double down or say that you're overreacting or, you know, blame you for having the conversation, basically. I don't know. It's a really tricky question. And like Miku memes are fun. They don't seem to realize that the instant they step out of line in the eyes of those more uncomfortable fans, that they'll also turn on them in an instant. They learn it pretty quick. They learn it pretty quick. As a parent, it's uncomfortable, yeah, to say the least. Definitely, yeah. I am so sensitive to needing children to be safe that I couldn't even be a parent. That's part of the reason why I have declined parenthood, is because I know that being responsible for a small human being that's vulnerable to the world would make me insane. I would be extremely overprotective. I would be extremely anxious. I would make them extremely anxious. It would just not be good. It would be a very unhealthy dynamic. So I know that, and I'm opting out. But it does mean that a lot of the things that people sort of let slide because they don't really think about it too much or they don't see it that way. Yeah, it does me in. It does a number on me. Nothing that a dropkick can't solve. It is stressful, yeah. I had to learn to not helicopter over the past few years. Yeah, it's really hard. Especially because, like, you want to give children their autonomy, but you also are aware that, like, I had a lot of autonomy as a kid, and that got me into some really bad situations. Really, really bad situations. You know, but I'm not a parent, so that's good. But I do feel protective of young people online, and I do worry about the 13-year-olds on Twitch. If you're less than 13, you shouldn't be here, but the 13-year-olds on Twitch who are having it normalized that, you know, prepubescent bodies are sexual, which they're not. But yeah, I don't know what to do about it, because people say this is just part of Japanese cultures, part of anime cultures, part of manga. Like, okay, if that's how you see it, it's not a part of it that I want to engage with, but if that's how you see it, I'm not going to be able to convince you otherwise, and I don't really care to try to convince you otherwise. That's kind of your prerogative, and if you're going to invest in that in any way, shape, or form, that's really your business. I will say one other thing about it, though, is that if anyone listening has these sorts of attractions and you think, oh, it's not hurting anyone, anything that takes us as human beings, as social creatures, further away from good, healthy, loving relationships, open communication, and honestly knowing each other is bad. It's hurting you. So that's just my opinion. You can do whatever you want. You're an adult, presumably. But that's my opinion. Even if you're doing these things alone in your room, you are still hurting yourself because you're distancing yourself from humanity, from being able to be comfortable, being honest with people, being open with people, and having healthy, strong relationships, platonic, romantic, whatever, you know. We all need some kind of human connection. It doesn't have to be romantic. There are plenty of asexual people. Asexual people are valid. I'm on the asexual spectrum as a demisexual person. But yeah, if you're doing things that you feel ashamed of, that you have to hide, whatever that is, and it could be something that you can't control. Like, you could have some kind of disordered behavior, you know, disordered eating, heavy drinking, whatever it is, you deserve help and support to deal with that behavior, because that is harming you. It is harming your body. It is harming you socially from being able to connect with other people. So I do think it's important to recognize it on that level, that I'm not hurting anyone. Yes, you're hurting yourself, and you matter, and you deserve support, and you deserve help. Even the manga creators and the like are moving away from the icky. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that they are. I was thinking about just tonal shift here. I was thinking about my demisexuality, because I was thinking about demi-romanticism, like being demi-romantic. And I think that for me, like, demisexual, I am demisexual, but I think romantically it's like the same thing. So I guess I'm like demisexual and demi-romantic, but it doesn't really, it's not really separate for me. Like it's combined. Like I can't be interested in someone just sexually or just romantically. It's always combined for me. And I think that's apparently pretty common, unless you have like them very separate. So yeah, I don't know if I need to bother adding another flag, because I've already got like, okay, my spectrum flags, I've got like, I'm on the asexual spectrum as a demisexual. I am on the non-binary spectrum as a gender fluid person, and I'm also polyamorous, and I'm also pansexual. It's like, I'm good. I've got enough labels. If you really want the like fine print of me, I can have an in-depth conversation with you. But I think in terms of like, you know, I mean, pansexual even is under the bisexual spectrum. So I guess I just try to keep it simple, because a lot of people can be like, wait, what's that? I don't know what that is, and like get confused. And some people can be a bit weird about the Mogai labels. It is what it is. Share many of the same flags based. Legendary super demi, but that makes sense, yeah. The Broly of LGBT? What's Broly got to do with it? I'm confused. Strong but wholesome, because Super Broly is obviously better. Oh. Broly is, his name means broccoli, right? I think people forget Dragon Ball is satire. So it's funny when people take Dragon Ball very seriously, and it's like their name is beer and whiskey and carrot. Legendary Super Saiyan. I know who Broly is. Old Broly's a 90s, was an evil jerk. New Broly is a shy guy. Oh, really? I've only seen the movie one. I've only seen the Broly movie. I don't know. I don't even know what Dragon Ball Z is doing these days. I think the last that I saw was like the end of the tournament with Barris and stuff. New Broly needs extra hugs. Aww. That's cute. But is he muscly? Is he so muscly that he can't actually bend his elbows fully? So can he hug? Sorry, sometimes the beefy guys, I just try to imagine them doing things where they have to like have a lot of dexterity and their muscles are just getting in the way, and it makes me amused. Dragon Ball Daima just ended. I liked it. Sweet farewell. Oh, maybe I should check it out. I haven't watched anime in a while. I was starting to expose Bucket Water to Ghost in the Shell, which I'm going to keep up. Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex and Second Gig. Rustbot, hi! Everything I know about Dragon Ball I learned from Team 4 stuff. Like, I like it that way. Fair, honestly. Yeah, that's fair. It was very funny watching Dragon Ball growing up, because unfortunately, New Zealand, Aotearoa is, you know, a relatively small country. And so we would get our dubs from Australia. In Australia, if you know anything about Australian censorship, they have notoriously strict censorship. So you would have someone powering up for like 3 episodes, and then when they finally start fighting, it just like cuts to like after the fight because the censorship. It was so terrible. Very, very annoying. Library's closing. All right, take care. Drive safe. But yeah, Australian censorship, do not recommend. It's very unfun. But yeah, I've been trying to watch more movies and I did watch Andor, the series. It's really good. Even if you don't like Star Wars, it's just really well written, really well acted. The sets are amazing. It's just a really well put together story. So even if you hate Star Wars, maybe if not if you hate Star Wars, but if you feel like, Star Wars is mid, I do recommend trying Andor, giving it a try. It's just 2 seasons. And then of course you can watch Rogue One at the end. This is the prequel to Rogue One. Time to add DBZ to the eventual watch parties. Find it funny that the place infamous for very colorful language and stuff is strict censorship. Yeah, Australia's a weird place. It is a weird place. Yeah, so I talked about my thoughts on the VTuber scene. Another thing I wanted to talk about is, obviously you've probably noticed that I'm streaming less lately. That's not unrelated to me sort of distancing more from VTubing, but it's not completely like the reason. I live alone. I have lived alone since August last year, August 2024. And I don't see other human beings very often. My best friend lives 2.5 hours out of town. I don't have a vehicle, so I'd have to take public transit to get there, which would take a really long time. And my health is not great. My health is not great, so I haven't been able to get out much and meet people and reconnect with people. Unfortunately, I did reconnect with a friend and then I had to disconnect again because it wasn't a safe relationship for me, so that also set me back somewhat. But I think I've just kind of come to accept that, at least for 2025, and depending on what happens in 2026, I'm just gonna be limited. I don't plan to quit streaming, but I don't think I'm going to be able to follow through on any of my plans that I've long had to like have movie nights on Discord or community games or do more collabs with people or any of that periphery stuff. There's just not enough mana in my frail mage body for all of that stuff. So I'll stream when I can. I'll still try to put out schedules because I find that I am less taxed by having made that decision already. If I have to cancel a stream, it's fine. I don't feel anything about it, other than maybe like, oh, I would have liked to have been able to be well enough to stream. But it's not like I feel guilty or anything. Because if I can't stream, I can't stream. If people care about me and they want me to be well, then they wouldn't want me to strain myself. If I can't stream, I can't stream. It is what it is. C'est la vie. But yeah, I do think that in 2026, I'm going to be trying to... So in Aotearoa, we have a system where the government insures people. So like if you have an accident or something happens to you, you are assaulted, whatever, you can make a claim to the government insurance to get money for treatment. So like I can apply to get money for therapy. And I have had a lot of therapy. I had about 5 years of talk therapy, psychotherapy. But I think I need a specialized treatment. And I did start that when I was living in the States. I had to stop due to life circumstances. But I would like to do it again. The kind of therapy that I had a lot of success with, though, it does take a toll. Like it's destabilizing, but it's like undoing something to put it back together in a better, more stable way. So like, I don't know, thinking of like an analogy of like someone really messily stitched up a tear in fabric, and then you're unpicking it, and then you're, you know, taking care of it properly so it's a strong seam that will last. So with EMDR, you're reprocessing memories. EMDR stands for eye movement reprocessing, desensitization and reprocessing. And I have found it helpful. I found it basically the experience of EMDR for me. Hey, Bucklewater, I love you. The experience of EMDR for me was like my own brain became a therapist. Like I was like going, okay, brain, what is wrong? Like, what do I need to know about this memory? What do I need to know about this trauma? And then my brain would be like, this is what you need to know. This is the insight that you need to be able to settle this back and store it in a way that it's no longer a pain point anymore. It's taking the thorn out so it can heal. So I'm looking forward to that. But again, obviously it's destabilizing. So I don't know if I will be more able or less able to socialize, more able or less able to stream. It's one of those things. And to be able to get the funding for the EMDR, I will have to go through the process of doing the public as in owned by the government, not public as in I have to do this publicly, like in front of an audience, but the publicly funded insurance agency, which means I have to relive the worst moment of my life. And that's not going to be easy. So I'm not going to try and do that until I have support. I'm having, my partners are visiting, Bucklewater's visiting in October, that's the plan, and then Kize is moving here in November. So once Kize's here, I'll start the process of trying to go through that. But yeah, again, I think a lot of my difficulties with trying to socialize has been expecting more of myself than is really reasonable. So I'm trying to just scale it all back. No more expectations. I'm not going to worry about, like, obviously I care about my friends. I don't want my friends to feel unloved, but me stressing about not being able to contact my friends doesn't help them. It doesn't help them feel loved. It doesn't help me. It actually just wears me down more. So I think I just have to accept I'm able to stream sometimes, but I'm on sort of semi-hiatus in terms of like socializing. And I don't know how to communicate that with people. And it's okay if people take that as me making an excuse or putting the relationship on them. I'm really not, but that's okay. Like, it's okay if I lose people. I've had to come to the realization that it's okay to lose people because I can't please everyone. I can barely keep myself comfortable some days. Like, I didn't stream yesterday because I wasn't up to it. I just wasn't. Hey, Chemist. I'm managing. We're just having a kōrero, having a talk about everything that's going on with me, which isn't all great. Not all great. And 155 stream streak. Thank you, Locus. Hope you're doing well. I'm managing. I'm alive. I'm breathing. Let me just blow my nose. It's a little cold in here. It is winter for me, or almost winter. I don't know when winter officially starts, but it's winter enough. I think I'm going to put my circulation gloves on. If I can find them. There they are. I do have a vascular disease. It's called Raynaud's, and it means that my body overreacts to cold. So when I'm cold, any part of my body is cold. Like, it could be like just one hand, but any part of my body, when any part of my body is cold, the blood will be restricted to my extremities, my blood vessels, to my fingers, toes, nose, even my nipples will constrict, and there'll be less blood flow. And so it causes them to go cold. In extreme cases, I could be, I'm more susceptible to frostbite. I'm not below freezing where I live. I live by the sea, so it doesn't even get cold enough to snow usually. But yeah, I do have to take care of myself. And so I have the heat pump on, and I have 3 pairs of socks on, and I have just put on my circulation gloves. They're just compression gloves. They're supposed to help with arthritis and with Raynaud's. That's just to encourage the blood flow, and they do help. They do help. You'll be okay. A lot of people do that, actually. Yeah. It's good that you're doing the best to take care of yourself. I'm trying. Sometimes it's hard. My body is not clear about what it wants. Like, I was about to start streaming, and then I just got this random sharp pain in my abdomen, and I was like, wow, this is random. I didn't have any urgency to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom. I had a bowel motion. It helped. Okay. Like, couldn't my body just tell me I need to use the bathroom? No. Random sharp pain, like someone's digging out my intestines. Cool. It's fun. It's a fun time. It's not fun, I'm lying. Can reach absolute 0 temp when you visit. Could you even handle that? You're so used to it being 30 degrees in winter. 30 degrees Celsius, I should say, for my Americans. Holding up okay? Last week was rough. Family dog passed away after 15 years, so still dealing with that fact. I'm sorry, that's really hard. I hope you have some people that you can reminisce about, but yeah, that is really hard, because just like even the feeling of like expecting, especially with dogs that follow you around, like expecting them to be there, and then you look down and it's just the space where they should be. That's really rough. But I do hope you can reminisce and have some good photos and stuff of them to remember them by, and eventually it will become, you know, happy memories of like, remember when they did the silly thing and stuff like that. But obviously not right away. Takes time to grieve. I'm really sorry for your loss. Hey, Graffy. Don't worry, I don't think of temp and freedom units anymore. Using my time in the military knocked that out of me. Oh, interesting. The military uses Celsius. Yeah. I feel like the people complain about like, well, Celsius is just like, or like metric system is just also random and made up and stuff. Like a meter is like a made up measurement. Like it's not even like there was some rhyme or reason to it, but apparently they kind of got it wrong. But I think divisible by 10 is a lot easier to handle than whatever, I don't even know, divisible by 12 or something system with inches and feet and stuff. Like, maybe I'm just biased because I grew up with the metric system, but I find it easier. And I also suck at math, so. Mathematics is painful. I do not enjoy mathematics. And weather career field, yeah, that makes sense. How's everyone doing? I'm a bit cold. Hopefully these gloves help to warm me up soon. Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle time. I'm doing my best. It really is. Hated learning Imperial growing up. Yeah, it is. It is a more difficult system, I think. But obviously, if people are used to it and they try to learn metric and they just don't have cores to use it, I can understand why they wouldn't switch. Because if everyone around you is using Imperial, even if it's more difficult, it's just what you're used to. It's what people expect you to, you know, think in and communicate in. It's like, why don't we use the easier shit instead of the 5,000 plus feet? Like, we're the world's worst shoe store. Yeah. American measurements are this hole is 5 washing machines wide. I feel like Americans think in football fields a lot of the time as well, like for larger distance. Sometimes Olympic swimming pools, which I have no idea how big an Olympic swimming pool is. I don't watch the Olympics. It's great minds think alike, Rosalia. Honestly, as someone who grew up on Imperial system, metric seems much simpler. Yeah, I think it is. Often thinks in terms of easy to visualize objects. Yeah, I just I've never been a sports fan personally. Aotearoa is big on rugby, and I don't like it. I really don't like the culture around sport too, because people will drink really heavily and then behave really abusively. Like, I remember one time I was at a traffic light, a red light, on my motorbike, and there were a bunch of there's a I don't know how to call it, tournament. There's a competition called the Sevens. It's like, I think 7 countries participate, and it's a rugby thing. And so some people were coming back from the stadium, Wellington Stadium, having watched one of the Sevens matches, I think, and they were drunk and they were harassing me. And it's like, I can't leave because I'm at a red light. I can't just drive through the red light. But at the same time, I don't feel safe. Like, I'm right here, just like one person on a motorbike. Like, they could come over and like touch me or whatever. Like, I'm glad they didn't, but you know, it was like a moment when I was like, this isn't cool. And it was daylight too. It wasn't at night. So that's how scary sports fans can be at times. Like, just completely unruly. I don't love it. I don't think it's necessary. Imperial system? Are we the baddies? Yeah, I think Americans call it standard or something. American standard, but the rest of the world calls it Imperial. Because, like, they still use, like in England, they use stone, pounds and stone for, like, body weight, human body weight. Which I never really understood. And in Aotearoa we use kg, but it is what it is. Kilograms. Grams and, well, kilograms mostly. You don't usually say, like, I am X many kilograms and X many grams. Just say kilograms, round down. Never a sports fan either. It's incredibly boring watching a baseball game, any sports game. I feel like sports is like impressive. Like, it's impressive what the human body can do. But I also think it's unethical to force human bodies to do these things to the point where they break down or, you know, have premature brain aging from the multiple, what do they call them? Like those concussions where it's like traumatic brain injury, like from multiple small impacts, which is especially bad with gridiron or American football, because all the padding and the helmets and everything makes people tackle much harder than they would without it. You still get this stuff in rugby, but I don't think it's to as an extreme degree. But yeah, it does piss me off, especially because the people that tend to go into professional sports, they do tend to be people of color. They do tend to be, in rugby, it's, you know, Pacific Islanders, Māori, And in America, it's black men and stuff who tend to go for these careers because it is a good way for them to be able to make a good living. But then if you're paying the price of cognitive decline by the time you're 40, I mean, you're basically just sacrificing your body for money, which is really rough. I really hope that the safety standards around those games change, because it's not fair. It's not fair on the players, and it feels nasty to me. It feels like a blood sport, really. Like, it's no different to me watch someone slowly kill themselves than it is to have like a gladiator fight, you know? But I know that my views tend to be on the fringe, so I don't judge anyone who's a sports fan. I just hope that we can have more safety in place, because you don't want your favorite sports baller to be getting, you know, early onset dementia and Alzheimer's and going into violent rages in their personal life because they have these traumatic brain injuries. I'm sure you don't want that as a sports fan. I'm sure you want them to be healthy and happy and well. Only experience with rugby is like a single scene from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That's all you need. That you got it down. Feel unsafe in sports bars. Yeah, me too. Apparently only Myanmar and Libya also use imperial system. Okay, that's very specific. Interesting. That's why I want to fight the concept of England. I don't mind watching tennis, but I'd rather play, which I can't anymore. Yeah, I feel that too. There are sports that I like playing, like, you know, casually. Like, I like, you know, shooting some hoops. I'm not cool enough to say that. I like playing some basketball. Not like actual, like, trying to guard and stuff, just like bouncing the ball and throwing it through the hoop, basically. And like, you know, backyard cricket where you're just playing with like friends and it's just casual, or that kind of thing. Like playing with like a tennis ball, like not a cricket ball. Cricket balls are dangerous. They're really hard. Like my one of my siblings had his front teeth knocked out by a cricket ball, hit him in the face. You're supposed to, if you're God, I can't even remember the term. The person that stands behind the wicket to catch the ball, if it hits the wicket, if it goes past the batter. If you're doing that job, you're supposed to have a helmet with a face guard, like a sort of wire mesh over your face, so if you get hit in the face, your teeth don't get knocked out. But I guess he wasn't, so. CTE, yeah. Dr. Bennett Omalu discovered it. Yeah, a lot of that stuff you can only really fully see all the damage on autopsy when you're looking at the brain. So we don't have a really good idea of how much it's affecting people. Like, I think you can do scans and stuff, but for the full knowledge of what's going on, we only find out after the people have already passed. I find it interesting that modern sword sports are safer than football. Yeah. Yeah, fencing is very safe. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. Table tennis is nice. Yeah, I like little, like, games you can play with friends. Snooker, pool, table tennis, that kind of thing. It's always fun. When no cricket here just means kind of insect. My mother is a fan though. Cricket is basically like baseball but more boring. And baseball's already very boring, so. Mini golf is nice. Custom obstacles and casual game with friends. Yeah, I like mini golf. That's fun too. I think sport as a means to socialize and to get a little bit of physical movement in is really, really nice. But I think professional sports needs a lot more protection for the players so that their health is protected and they're not just wearing their bodies down. Because I do think that's really a big issue. Play with her friends back in Jamaica. Nice. Mother's a fan. Yeah, I guess it would be kind of big there because there was some. I'm not good with history, but I think there was some British occupation. Right? I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. I'm not a science buff, history buff. It's a Commonwealth. Okay, yeah. I'm on the right track then. But yeah, that makes sense that she would be familiar. I am like more into the idea of countries competing via sport rather than having wars. I think that's a better alternative than war. But again, I just don't think we should be sacrificing anyone, even if they're sports players, like sacrifice their health. I don't think that's necessary. Even if it does make the sport less exciting because they're not hitting each other as hard, they're not whatever. I think that's okay. I'm okay with sacrificing a little bit of the bloodthirstiness for the safety of the human beings involved, you know? They don't exist just for you to project violence onto. Spoke either the Queen's English, patois. Twin is a history buff. Unfortunately, their history career never got off the ground. History is a difficult degree to put into practice, I think, unless you're kind of doing academic things. Or, I mean, I guess you could do an independent career, like making YouTube videos about history, but that requires very specific skills, and also basically you're a one-person business, usually, having to write, record, edit, promote, all of that stuff. So not really practical for most people, honestly. Settle war via esport. Do some Tekken or whatever. That'd be fun, actually. They could have stayed at their hometown and worked with history experts in the area, but they decided to move in with their girlfriend in another state. Ah, okay. Well, I hope your twin figures out what they want to do with their history career, if they want to pursue that, or what they want to do. Feel bad for philosophy majors. Got to make essays as a career. Not necessarily. So I know it's changed a lot in recent times because basically computers are looking at resumes and sorting through thousands of resumes and kicking anyone out that doesn't have the relevant degree or whatever. But humanities degrees, what the humanities teaches you, this is philosophy, sociology, any of the quote-unquote soft sciences. They teach you how to analyze things, how to think, how to consider different perspectives. That's really important. It is very important even in unrelated business companies, you know, any kind of company. Because if you have someone that, yeah, they know a bunch of figures, like say you have a mathematician, they're going to be able to solve all the equations for you, do all the calculations that you need. But are they going to know how to present this information to the client? Are they going to know how to see something from a different person's perspective and maybe understand from the customer's point of view, or understand like how to work well and communicate well with their co-workers? Like, there's a lot of things that humanities degrees provide the world that the world is very seriously lacking, but we don't value it anymore. And so people don't get those degrees anymore because they're told, oh, if you get an English major degree, you are going to starve. You're going to have to just be flipping burgers, and then you wasted all this money on a degree. Which maybe in the current economy that's true, but that wasn't the point of these degrees. I don't know why they call them soft science when the subjects are so hard. I mean, it really depends, right? If you have really terrible essay questions, then it's hard. Yeah, I think university and college is unnecessarily difficult. Like, I think the workload is unethical. To do a full workload, I think it's usually overwhelming for most people, and I feel like professors don't balance courses well with other courses because they're not really concerned about the other courses, they're just concerned about their own. I think we could definitely optimize some of this stuff a bit more and make it less focused on profit and more focused on actually producing well-rounded adults that have expertise in certain areas. But, you know, what do I know? I don't own a university. No one's going to listen to me about that. Had to go for accounting solely for the sake of guaranteed work. I can separate passions and career. Yeah, a lot of people have to do things like that. Me getting a film degree and the entire film world going to heck wasn't fun. Yeah, it's very rough. Also, like, entertainment industry can be quite cutthroat and quite ethically dubious, we'll say. I won't go any further into that topic. I think I've talked about enough depressing things in that realm before. I think such degrees are important, especially with how folks tend not to understand a lot about media. Yeah. I mean, I really enjoy when people talk about media, like media analysis. I've actually been getting more into watching movies because I feel like another thing that I was going to talk about, I just remembered, I probably should have taken some notes, huh? Another thing I was going to talk about today is that I've been feeling very disconnected from myself, from other people, from the world. I've been feeling dissociated and depersonalized. Dissociation is like, I'm not real. Depersonalization, well, dissociation is like the world's not real. Depersonalization is like, I'm not real. Like the feeling of like being in a dream, like things are surreal. And I was sort of trying to find ways to reconnect, especially reconnect with my creativity, because a big part of how I relate to myself is through creation, usually writing. And so I've been watching more movies and shows. I recently watched The Substance. What else did I watch? I watched a movie called In Time, which is like a kind of B-movie sci-fi. I actually really enjoyed it though. And a few others, I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it's really good to be taking in like creative works. I think that's helping. But I am still having trouble being able to write. Like, I really want to write. I'm getting all these ideas. I'm even writing notes for some of my stories, so I have ideas I don't want to forget. But it's just hard for me to actually do it. Like, I feel so sick and so low energy, and just like getting through the day, managing to feed myself, shower, keep my environment clean, like all of that stuff. Every day I don't manage to do that every day. Like, some days I skip showering, and it's not like I'll die if I don't shower, but I do have very sensitive skin, so I tend to get eczema because I'm allergic to my own sweat. That's fun. So it's better for my health if I do shower once per day, but I don't always manage it when I'm feeling unwell. So just trying to get through the day and take care of myself some days is just all I can do. But I'm really, really wanting to reconnect more with my creative side and art in general. So I'm trying to do some of that, but also that takes me further away from streaming and engaging with VTubing stuff, because what I want to write is more, it's adult stuff. It's not all sexual, but it's adult stuff. It's stuff that's challenging. It's meant to be, you know, emotionally demanding. I'm finding myself leaning toward, not exclusively, but I am leaning toward some horror stuff. Some of it's just like fantasy, but there's horror elements and things. I really like fantasy settings, like, you know, magic and stuff like that. Like, It's pretty obvious, Mage Vivica, so I don't think that's going to surprise anyone. One of those people that need help to understand. I have a degree specifically for screenwriting, and when I graduated, that was when the AI push happened. Oof. That is rough. It's really rough. Makes sense, just confused on what specifically happened. I've been writing ideas to myself in a Discord DM channel solely for myself. Nice. Yeah, I got a little journal app on my phone. I just started journaling a little bit here and there. I'm really bad with journaling. I'm not consistent, but I've managed to do like maybe 4 or 5 entries over the course of a week, which is probably the most consistent I've ever been. Like usually I'll like make 1 or 2 entries and then I'll like have like a year gap and then there'll be like 1 more entry and then I'll just kind of give up on the on the journal and the notebook. So maybe it'll stick. Like one of my entries the other day was just 6 words. It counts, I guess. I think part of it too is that I use social media as a way to get my thoughts out. So I'm trying to do a bit more journaling for like personal stuff that I don't necessarily feel ready to, like it's not digested enough to comment on publicly, but I'm not going to stop with my oversharing on Ambrosia and stuff. I don't give any fucks. Have a good look, Rosalia. Our fancy is so fun. Yeah, I think for me, body horror is cathartic. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. I am not horrified by horror, so to me it's like a very different kind of vibe. Like I watched The Substance, and honestly, I don't think I was the target demographic because I don't share those values about body image and things like that. Not to say I've never been affected by those things. Absolutely I have, and I still struggle to some degree. But I think it was like late last year, I just sort of came out of that mindset and I couldn't value those things anymore. I couldn't value being, you know, a specific weight, a specific skin tone, color, texture, like any of the conventional, this is what an attractive person looks like ideas. It just finally just completely fell away for me. And I'd always been objecting to those ideas, but they still permeated me. They still got into my mind. Like I would still see someone that didn't fit all the criteria and my mind would focus on the parts of their body that didn't fit the beauty standard criteria. And now I see them, I just see a beautiful human being. So that's a really nice change. If you can reach that point of body neutrality, it's really rewarding, but I know it's very hard. And I don't even know I can say exactly what got me there. Maybe part of it is just getting older and being like, you know what? I don't want to look 20 years old anymore. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if people want to fuck me or not. Like, I don't want to fuck most people. Why do I care if they want to fuck me? It's just not it. It's not what I'm interested in. It's not what I'm going for. So I still want to enjoy my body and I still love my body and I still think my body is desirable. But I also just don't care who desires it, you know? It's between me and the people that I have those kinds of relationships with, which at the moment is just 2 people. So that's fine. Anyone else can have their opinions. I don't need to hear them. Of being creeper out or put on edge. Like my favorite horror game is Signalis, which isn't necessarily scary, but did unnerve me a bit. Yeah, creeped out. Yeah. Like the feeling of like tension. When people say like they're scared of games, I don't feel scared, but I do recognize the tension. But then often in games when I'm dealing with that tension, because they do build up the atmosphere really well. Games I'm thinking of like Final, I'm blanking. Resident Evil 7 I think I played, and 8. Outlast, like they do the tension well, but to me, I don't feel afraid. I just feel the tension, and then when the tension breaks, that's usually I laugh. So it's not really the same experience that other people are having, as far as I can tell. Like obviously I'm not in their brain, I don't know. Maybe they're screaming and it's actually funny to them, I have no idea. But to me it's just funny, so I laugh. But yeah. So I was talking about feeling disconnected and stuff. So I'm doing my best to try to reconnect with myself. But I think that it's just one of those things where it's like socializing online, like through streaming, talking to people on Discord, talking to people on social media, Twitter and Blue Sky. That's technically social contact, but because I don't see anyone face to face, I don't have any interactions with people in the real world and you know, face to face and meet space, whatever you want to call it. It's sort of like those social interactions are like dessert. Like I'm being fed only part of the nutrients of social interaction, and so it starts to feel more and more hollow. And I've been feeling when I was streaming lately, like I enjoyed it to some degree. Like I'm enjoying playing the game, I'm enjoying talking to people, but then afterward I feel bad. Like I did something wrong, or like there was something missing, there was something off. And it wasn't that anyone did anything or I did anything wrong. It was just that I'm missing that sort of social nourishment of having face-to-face contact with people. And that's not really something that's going to resolve quickly. It's not going to resolve until the end of this year. So trying to learn to navigate that is also a bit tricky. I think it's just going to be a case of like seeing how I feel day to day and just trying out different things that help me feel more connected to myself. Because really I think that's the problem, is that I'm not feeling connected to myself. And when I'm disconnected from myself, I'll just speak for myself. When I'm disconnected from myself, things feel a lot more hollow. So I feel like less like I'm authentically experiencing a video game with you and sharing it with you and having conversations with you. It feels more like I'm performing, I'm serving a function, I'm there to entertain you rather than to be entertained with you, which is what I prefer to do, is because I don't stream for fame or money or any of that. I really appreciate everyone that subs. I really, really do. That money helps a lot, especially because I can't work. But it's not the purpose. If I never got a sub in my entire streaming career, I would still stream. Like that's not the point for me. So yeah, I really want to bring myself to what I'm doing and connect with other people. But if I'm super disconnected from myself, then that's really hard to do. But yeah, it took me some figuring out, because at first I was like, oh, why am I feeling this way? Is it because, you know, people have been backseating and whatever and stuff? And I don't think that's actually the thing. I think that's just something my mind fixated on, because it was easy to recognize. Like, I don't love it when people do stuff like that, when they like tell me, oh, you didn't make the optimal choice. It's like, I'm role playing. Like Baldur's Gate 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Mass Effect. I'm going to eventually start Mass Effect 2. Are I'm role-playing. I'm playing a role. I'm playing a character. So I'm doing what that character would do. And that's not always going to be the most optimal thing. That's sometimes going to mean that they completely ignore certain storylines and certain contexts and certain characters. And that's fine. That's what the character would do. But I feel like a lot of people are sort of in this mindset about video games where it's like they have to experience all that the game has to offer. A lot of video games don't even allow you to experience every single thing that the game has to offer because they do, you know, lock some choices. Like you can choose to date this character, which means you can't date this other character or whatever it is. Like they will make it so there's replayability in terms of you can go through the game as a different character or make different choices and have a different experience. And I don't tend to have the time and energy to replay games. Thank you for the hydrate. But it's nice to have the option. And I think it's just hard for some people because they think that to play a game well or fully or enjoy it fully, that they have to experience everything. That's just not true for me. I would not enjoy a genocide run of Deltarune or whatever the first game was called. I've forgotten. I'm blanking on it right now. I just wouldn't enjoy that. That would not be fun to me. I wouldn't enjoy a fist weapon playthrough of Dark Souls. That would be hell. I would hate that so much. That is what it is. Undertale, yeah. I would not enjoy a genocide run of Undertale. That would just be, like, horrible. I would just be in pain. I don't want that. Fun fact, majority of FNV players have never done a Legion playthrough. Well, at New Vegas. Oh, yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I would never want to do that. Yeah, I don't understand what the enjoyment of that would be, and I don't really want to think about the mindset of someone who would enjoy persecuting people and torturing them. That's just not my bag. Why would you want to? I don't know. I don't know how people found out that you can attack children in Skyrim and that they're invincible, because I never even thought of doing that. Someone said that they accidentally did it, but even then, like, why are you attacking in town? Like, I guess dragons sometimes will just, like, swoop in, but still, like, that's weird to me. I don't understand. Some people just try things for the sake of trying things, I guess. Which, if that's how you play video games, no judgment. It's just not how I play video games. Maybe a cat knocked the controller down. Okay. Okay, I do understand that one. I do have first-hand experience with that. Damn, Vivian. Oh well. I do want a cat again, but I don't trust myself yet. I think I need to have... I also just have a very small place, and I wouldn't want my cat to be an outdoor cat because Aotearoa has a lot of native birds, and I don't want my cat hunting them. So I don't want my cat to negatively affect the ecosystem. So I wouldn't want the cat to be outdoors, which means I'd have to have somewhere for a litter box and enough room for the cat to run around when they get the zoomies, and I just don't have a lot of room. Miss your cat? Mm-hmm. Apparently it's a thing in Skyrim where someone will quick save massacre a town and then reload that save. I don't understand. I really don't. Like, people will go through From Software games like Dark Souls and stuff, and they'll kill all the NPCs just to see what happens, and I'm like, I'm here to make friends. Like, literally. I would be talking to the NPCs out loud, whether I'm streaming or not, guys. This is not an act. This is just my autistic ass being myself. Yeah, I don't understand. Genocide runs. It's blah. Even the name, I don't like that. It's not even really a genocide run, you're just killing everyone, so it's not like you're selecting a specific group of people to murder. It's more like massacre run. Prefer to talk to NPCs, exactly. Have a nice conversation. Do some commerce. You in GTA. Never played GTA, I don't think I ever will. My friend, you gotta do a low honor run. Red Dead Redemption, me, why? Yeah, why? Why? Why do I want to be cussed out by shopkeepers and spit on in the street? Like, why? I'm not eager to be persecuted. Maybe I got enough of that from just being autistic because it unnerves people. I already have enough random hostility coming my way, it's fine. Never understood kill everything runs. I think it's just like that drive to experience everything the game has to offer, like trigger every single response from the code kind of thing, which I guess if you're like doing deep analysis of the gameplay, sure, but it's not for me. I talk to NPCs, but I don't vibe with them, then they die. High stakes conversation. Remember to be entertaining whenever you talk to Dark. Favorite thing in Fallout 4 is to build settlements full of well-armed and armored inhabitants using equipment taken from defeated raiders. Yeah, rebuilding in the apocalypse I think is kind of a big draw. Actually, I'm quite interested in 7 Days to Die because of that aspect of like rebuilding. You never kill me? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Doc. Very kind of you. I'm just kidding. I'm just ribbing you. Don't worry about it. Seven Days to Die. I tried it out. A lot of builds in it. I haven't played it at all. I don't even own it. I think it's on my wish list. Let me check. Yeah. It's currently full price. 64 New Zealand dollars and 49 New Zealand cents. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But yeah, at some point when it's on deep discount, I might grab it. I'm still playing through Remnant 2 with Bucklewater off stream. And we haven't started Remnant 1. So, got games to play. Stream games too, I'm never gonna run out. At the pace that I'm playing them. Not quickly at all. You know, they said never understood it either, and it failed to stand. Oh, Twitch. You going okay, Twitch? You having a struggle? I'm gonna buff Twitch, since apparently it's struggling to send messages. Yeah. So if I cancel streams or take weeks off of streaming, that's why. Trying to figure out how to reconnect with myself while also not being at a point yet where I can face all the demands of what it will take to get myself some more therapy for my trauma. I've also just come to realize that, you know, just getting out of a situation, I mean, I already knew this, but it's like sort of like emotionally impacting me that just getting out of an abusive situation isn't enough to undo the damage of the abusive situation. Like, obviously I do things that I can for myself, you know, the various things that my therapist, my former therapist that I had in the US, had advised to help with my PTSD, like yoga, journaling, meditation. Like, I do these things, but I will need some more professional help at some point. It's just not accessible to me right now because of having to go through the process, and I can't go through the process alone. It's just too much. I am still dealing with one aspect of my divorce. I am still dealing with the knowledge that, unfortunately, my ex has demonstrated throughout the whole process that he is not willing to give me space. Obviously, he knows my social media as a VTuber. He knows my Major Vivica socials, and I don't have them locked down, so he can have whatever sock account, see me doing whatever he wants. He can be lurking in my Discord and whatever. And I refuse to be intimidated. I refuse to be afraid to talk about what I'm going through, what I've experienced. But I also know that he has tried some things here and there. I'm not going to telegraph them by talking about them, but he has done things that made me feel unsafe and that I do think were disrespectful. But, you know, all I can do is just continue on and do my best to enjoy myself in my spaces that I administer. And if I notice something amiss, take action as appropriate. But yeah, I'm not going to stop talking about the things I've been through or trauma I'm dealing with. Don't worry, I never get upset if I don't feel 100%. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone's patience with me, and the streams when I do manage to stream but I'm, you know, low energy or maybe crying or whatever it is, I really appreciate it, because as I mentioned, I do this to connect with like other human beings. It's not for fame or fortune or any of that. It's to actually, you know, make connections with people. And in that vein, I think I'm going to focus more on giving energy back to the people that I do feel a genuine connection with. So I'm not going to worry about like the VTubing networking aspect of things anymore. I might end up just unfollowing some people on social media and stuff just so that I'm really curating my experience on social media, where I mean, most of the people that I follow on like Twitter and Blue Sky are artists, because that's really what I'm interested in life. I'm interested in creating art. For me, that's probably mostly going to be writing, but I might be doing some projects with artists at some point. But yeah, like I know there's sort of, especially it's like kind of like a streamer VTuber culture thing of like being liked and liking people and you know, that kind of thing. But I've never been about that. It's just that I've avoided, like, sometimes I'll follow someone because like we have a good interaction, or I'll like look at their profile and it'll be like, yeah, this is interesting content, I'm interested in what they do, and then they'll start to talk about something that's not relevant to me, or they'll retweet a bunch of like fetish content and I'll be like, this is actually not for me. But if they're already following me or they followed me back, I feel bad unfollowing them because I feel like they would take it personally. But I'm going to let that go. I'm just going to curate my space. If people take it personally, if they think I'm a snob, okay. I've had that problem my entire life because I'm quiet, because people think based on the way I speak that I'm eloquent, that maybe I think I'm better than them. I don't. I genuinely don't. I don't judge people. I don't think I'm better than them. Even if I disagree with someone, even if someone does something that I think is horrendous, like they do illegal things, unethical things, I'm not judging them. I'm judging their actions. And that's something very important to me. That's one of my personal standards for myself, is I don't judge people. I judge behavior. So if someone's behaving in a harmful way, I will criticize their behavior. I'm not going to criticize them. I don't know them. I don't know what's in their heart. They could mean well, they could have all the best intentions, but they're doing something unintentionally awful. I don't know what's in their heart. I can't read it. I can't read their heart. I can only read their actions. So that is what it is. But yeah, in terms of like going forward, I think I'm just going to focus on putting energy and putting my attention onto people who I see doing things that I want to experience, like people making art, like streamers who are doing really cool things like community building, charity work, like they're putting out messages into the world for like acceptance and love and those sorts of things, not just like, oh, look at my pretty new model. Like, that's fine, that's cool. Like, if their model artist is doing really cool things, I might follow the model artist just because the process of making VTuber models is interesting to me. The craft of an art is interesting to me. But, you know, the person behind the puppet, probably not so interested. It's just, you know, it depends on the person. Some of them are kind and lovely and they say things that are really up my alley and I want to support and boost. And others are just like, yeah, they're just there to be a cute waifu and that's fine. It's just not my bag. No judgment, just not what I'm focused on. Quite nice being part of this little community you made. I'm glad. I'm really glad. It does make me happy when people say that. Sometimes I feel like I need to provide more, but I can only provide what I can provide. And sustainably for me right now, that's not much. And that's okay. Like just having a Discord, having a space where people can come together and talk, even if some days I don't say that much myself, it's still nice that people can have that. And I think it's still valuable. I don't know 100% if I'll ever go back to making the buff, but I'm not ruling it out. I'm not making any permanent decisions right now. And I like that they're still there and that people still find value in them. Sometimes people will talk about something and I'll say, oh, I made a buff about that. Would you like me to link it? And, you know, so hopefully it's still a resource in some way. It's still valuable in some way, even though I'm not making new ones right now. And who knows what I'll do in future. But yeah, I do appreciate it when people enjoy what I do have to offer. Because I know there are other things I've talked about, like having movie nights and stuff like that. It's not that I don't want to, it's just that I can't. I'm not well enough. If I become well enough someday, absolutely, I would love to do that. But right now, I'm just kind of keeping myself as together and taken care of and getting through my days as much as I can until, like, I'm basically feeling like I'm in a holding pattern, so I'm waiting for my partners to move here. That's just kind of how it is. I'm waiting to be able to have that support to be able to apply for the funding to get more therapy, which will help me work through some things. And yeah, it's just some days are harder than others, and most days are not easy. Just happy to be in your community. You've helped me tremendously and made a positive impact on at least one person's life. Don't make me cry, Chemist. I really appreciate that. I have seen you grow a lot, and I've seen you come to some really, really good realizations that I think have maybe made your perspective on yourself a bit more clear. And I do really appreciate that you listen and you engage and you have honest conversations. And that goes for anyone. Any mageling who's ever shared anything, no matter how sort of personal or not, like even if it's just like everyone is different. Like some people just saying how their day was, that can feel quite personal to them. So I understand when anyone shares anything. I really appreciate it, and I understand that, you know, we all have our different levels of comfort. And, you know, I tend to be the kind of person that I would tell my life story to a stranger at the bus stop. Like, it doesn't feel vulnerable to me. It doesn't feel scary or difficult, because, like, if they judge me, that's really their problem. Like, they're the one being judgmental. It's not my fault that they're judgy. But I know a lot of people feel a lot more vulnerable and a lot more protective around those things, and it's hard to open up, especially when you've been told to not be open. And I've definitely been told directly and indirectly to not be open. So this is not something that is necessarily a lifelong habit for me, but it's just something that no matter how much people kind of tried to push me back into a guarded state, it never really stuck. Like, it would make me trust that person less, But like, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of in a contradictory thing because like I can't rely on people for important things. Like that's something I'm learning to do. But then again, like I'm also not ashamed of anything that I am or that I struggle with or any of that. So yeah, I don't know. We're all walking contradictions to some degree. Like we're human. Like your Forrest Gump? I'm not sure what you mean by that. That could be a broad statement. But yeah, I had a very. You said you could tell your life story to someone at the bus stop. Oh, he did do that, didn't he? It's been so long since I saw that movie. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it is kind of a neurodivergent thing to be really open that way, isn't it? Which I am. I'm autistic. But yeah, I was gonna share. So I had a really shocking, intrusive thought the other night. It's not graphic or anything, but I was thinking about, okay, yeah, it makes sense that I'm struggling socially, that I don't feel like I can reach out to friends, and streaming is hard. I haven't been able to stream as consistently and had to cancel more streams and feeling less connected and not enjoying streaming as much because I've been feeling more disconnected from myself. And it's been a hard year. It's been like a year and a half, I think, since I ended my marriage. And you know, I was just sort of having some sympathy for myself. That's where my mind was. I was thinking that. And then for some reason I had this intrusive thought that said, yeah, but your ex is having an even harder time. He has to live under the current US administration. And I don't know why my brain went there, other than just I had been conditioned for 15 years to put my ex's needs above my own, even his wants above my own. And if I didn't, I was called selfish, even abusive at the end. And I think really what I have to do is I have to do some deprogramming. It might sound dramatic, but I do think that relationships where there's coercive control, it is similar to a cult, because cults are about coercive control. They're about stealing people's labor, whether that's reproductive labor, forcing people to have children for the cult, the religion, whatever, or it's physical labor, like having them work for the cult. It is about labor, and that's the dynamic that I was in my marriage, is that it was about controlling how I presented myself to the world, controlling my labor, controlling my body, all of that stuff. So I'm going to look more into that in terms of like, I think there's a book that I'm going to buy. I haven't read it yet, so I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to recommend a book that I haven't read. But yeah, I'm gonna look at that. And I think that's kind of an attitude that I've been trying to move more away from, this attitude of other people's wants are more important than my needs. So like, for example, in the past, if someone had done something like in my chat, like they made a comment in my chat, I would be very hesitant to correct them because I didn't want them to feel upset. I didn't want them to feel bad. I didn't want them to have a bad experience. Partly that's because my ex conditioned me. Like if I ever corrected someone, he would say, oh, that didn't feel good. Like criticizing me, like you shouldn't have corrected them that way. You did that wrong. Actually, for months after I left the States, I felt an anticipation that my partners were going to pick me apart after stream, because that's what I was used to. That's the dynamic I was used to for so many years. So that just kind of goes to show, like, it doesn't matter to me what people claim about what I've been through. I can tell, like, even though I've been so lied to about what was okay and what wasn't okay and what was appropriate and what wasn't appropriate, I can tell just from my trauma responses that I went through a lot. So yeah, I'm trying to focus on, like, sometimes I'll get like weird messages on Telegram, like, oh, I miss how you used to be or something. And to me, that's saying, I miss when you used to be more of a doormat. I miss when I used to be able to walk all over you. And that's not necessarily how other people see me. Like, they don't necessarily see how much internal work I've done and how that expresses itself in a healthier way in my behavior. They might just see me saying no more. They might just see me being less indulgent of people. And they think, oh, well, you know, whatever they think of it. They judge it. They think I'm being unfair or whatever. That's fine. They can think I'm being unfair. I don't mind. It's really not important to me. I know I can't please everyone. I don't want to. Imagine trying to please everyone. Like, that sounds like a nightmare. Very, very easy to lose track of yourself. So sometimes when I get those kinds of things, because I do still feel that pull, because this is not something that I just had in my marriage. This is something that I was conditioned to do since I was born, basically. My mother is a very unwell person. She's very out of touch with reality. My dad describes it as she's in her own world. And that's very true. And so for her, the most important thing was always her feelings. So I learned very quickly from a very young age that don't share anything that will upset her. Don't criticize her. Don't give her feedback that might make her upset. You know, if she does something hurtful or says something hurtful or fails to do something since she's neglectful, just don't say anything. Just be quiet. Just be easy. And that's the attitude that I took into the rest of my life, because that was the attitude that I knew. And also that's a message that's been reinforced a lot. I think a lot of autistic girls growing up, we learn to shrink ourselves, be quiet, observe the situation, and then when we feel it's safe to share, we put on an appropriate mask and we perform for people. And it's exhausting. It's genuinely very exhausting. I keep finding YouTube channels of younger women younger than me, who have been late diagnosed, you know, as in diagnosed as an adult rather than as a child. And they're talking about their experiences as an autistic woman. And it's really great that we're having more of these conversations, but it's something that it's going to be taking a long time to unravel. And I think there's still a lot of people that are falling through the cracks. And it's rough. It's really rough. So I'm doing a lot of work internally, and I don't know nor super care how it's translating to how people observe me, how people see me. But yeah, I just want to acknowledge that I'm working through a lot of things. Cope, see them all. That is a nightmare, yeah. Like, I don't want anyone to feel like they can't be honest. And I want to feel like I can be honest. And I don't want anyone to feel like if I correct them that it's like, I'm not offended if someone does something that makes me uncomfortable. Like, I'm not going to take it personally if someone does something. Like, obviously, if it's a situation where it's like a friend and they know about me, like something specific, and they do it anyway, or I've already addressed it and they keep repeating that behavior, then yeah, obviously it's going to get to the point where I'm like, okay, can't tolerate this anymore. But if it's like, you know, someone new to the community or newer to the community makes a joke and it's like, oh yeah, we don't really go there in this community, I'm not going to be like judging them for it. Like, I hope when I correct people they don't feel like I'm judging them, but I'm just saying, hey, this behavior, we don't want that here. This is not the behavior. This is not the way. So hopefully that comes across, but I know it's hard. So if people do, like, however people feel is how they feel. I can't control how people feel. It's okay. And some people might, to feel comfortable, they might need a community that's more tolerant of, like, stuff that I don't tolerate. And that is what it is. It's fine. It just means that my space is not for them. That's okay. But yeah, I also feel like with what's going on in the US that I want to be vocal about my queerness, about being non-binary, polyamorous, pansexual, you know, all these things, because I know it's not necessarily safe for everyone to be open about these things. And I'm worried that with all the laws that are being put into place in the US, that people are going to lose that knowledge, lose access. Young people are going to lose access to that knowledge. And a lot of people living there will feel less able to share these things about themselves. They'll feel less able to educate people. Because my experience with being queer is my first crush was on a fictional character. It was on the first one I remember. There might have been ones before this, but the first I remember was like Zelda from A Link to the Past and like Sarah from Labyrinth, the 1987 movie. I wanted to be Jareth, so that's more of a gender identity thing than a than a sexuality thing. But yeah, so I knew, like, my first crushes were on girls. So I knew that I wasn't straight. And then I learnt about bisexuality and I was like, okay, I guess I'm bisexual. And then I learnt, oh, okay, I actually don't care what someone's body is. Like, I'm not concerned about what equipment they have. So pansexual actually fits more with that, because pan is just like all, like, it's just like the body is not super relevant to attraction for me. And then I was like, well, I don't really develop attraction. Like, I've never experienced like love at first sight or like deep attraction at first sight or something. I can recognize someone as aesthetically pleasing, but I don't feel attraction toward them. If they're a stranger, I have to have that emotional bond develop. And then I learned about demisexuality. Hey, that fits the description of how I experience my sexuality. And so I don't want people to not have that information, because when you're able to name something, labels aren't perfect. Like, obviously, you know, labels have limitations, but sometimes a label can help us to understand that our experience is different from, you know, the general populace. It is unique. It's more unique and not so unique that it's like we're the only one. So there's like people that relate to us, but also we recognize that, because some of the troubles that I've had in relationships come from people not understanding my sexuality, not understanding that, you know, it's not that I have a low libido, it's that I feel unsafe. So my body is shutting down, so I can't actually access my libido because I'm unsafe. And that might be like a pretty universal thing, I don't really know. But for me, I think it's also related to my demisexuality. Because, you know, I need to have a strong emotional bond with someone to feel attracted to them. So if they break my trust in a profound enough way, a deep enough way, or in a, you know, by 1,000 cuts over time, which also happens, you know, just kind of undermining, pushing me to ignore my own feelings, all that kind of thing, then yeah, eventually it will mean that I don't have a strong enough bond with them. I don't have enough trust with them to engage that part of myself, my sexuality. So I think that these are all really important things that people have information about. So I do want to still share about these things and talk about these things. and maybe do more sharing and talking about it than I have before, because I think it's important now that people who are safe and like living in a safe place where they're not going to be persecuted for their identity, to be able to share this knowledge with people who maybe wouldn't find out these things otherwise. They wouldn't see these things in themselves, or they wouldn't understand these things in potential partners or in friends, because it can be hard for people to understand an experience that, well, you can't really understand an experience you haven't had. You can have empathy. You can say, okay, I don't understand this experience. I've never experienced it myself. Like, I don't know what it's like to be living under systemic racism because I'm white. Someone can tell me I'm ugly because I'm white. That's not systemic racism. That's just someone being a mean person, being cruel. It's absolutely not the same thing. So I can't understand what it's like to experience racism, but I can understand, like, I can respect people and listen to their experiences and understand it's important to listen to them and do what I can to fight against these parts of the world, because it's a part of the world. It's a part of everyday experience, whether we acknowledge it or not. And to do my part to stand up against it, not only not participate in it, but speak out against it, and especially when I see it, and calling people in. I really prefer to try to bring people to my side and talk to them about, hey, this is not the behavior we want to be displaying because of this and this, and to try and help bring them closer rather than pushing them away. It's not always going to be possible. Some people just don't like being told what to do, and they're just going to, you know, go their own way. That's fine. But hopefully, the more that we encourage people to be better, to do better, then it will be contagious, and people will feel like they can ask these things of their friends and their acquaintances and their family and their loved ones. And, you know, I hope that even if I'm just making a drop in the ocean, that a few people feel the ripples, you know? That's basically all I'm trying to do. I'm not overly ambitious. I don't think I can end discrimination overnight. It's just the slow process of just being good to the people around you, doing what you can, sharing who you are, so hopefully people can understand, and maybe other people will be able to use that sharing and that example in some way, either to inspire themselves to think about themselves and figure out their own identity, or help other people, or understand their friends and family and all that. So yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to talk about. And I know that that can put some people off. Like, in the past, I didn't used to talk at all about being queer because I sort of had this naive belief that if I just seemed quote unquote normal, which being queer is normal. It's not abnormal to be queer. It might be less common than being straight, but it's not abnormal. But I had this idea that if I just presented as just like, you know, a regular cis-het person, that people would like me, and then once they liked me, then they found out that I was queer, then they might like queer people more. And I don't think I need to do that. I don't think I need to hide who I am to be liked, and if I do, then that's not a me problem. Waking up, checking phone, seeing BB notification, peeking in at 4 a.m. Don't mind me dozing off again. Have a good rest, Lisa. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to share, is that, you know, I am chronically ill. I'm having trouble. I'm doing what I can. But I don't expect to be able to put more into streaming than I currently am, and probably over time I will be pulling away more. I don't know what I'll be doing in 2026 because, as I mentioned, I want to be going back into very intense therapy. I'm also going to be adjusting to living with a partner after having lived alone for a long time. And obviously I want to build a social support system locally in real life. So I want to invest more in face-to-face relationships and local relationships, which means less time focusing on my VTubing, social media, Mage Vivica stuff. But yeah, I don't plan to quit streaming. It just might become less of a focus of mine over time. Imagine being straight, Lamel. Not that it's a bad thing, no. Nothing wrong with being straight, nothing wrong with being gay, nothing wrong with being bi, nothing wrong with being asexual. It's all just beautiful flavors of the human experience. My hair isn't straight. Same. Even though it seems mainly straight, it has super softly waves. When I wash my hair, I see the waves clearly, but I don't know how to take care of that. Yeah, there's a few people that have done articles and like YouTube videos about like reclaiming their curls. If you wanna look on YouTube or search engines, I think there's like something I heard was like the curly girl method or something. Like there's different things you can do. Like I remember when I was about 10, my stepfather manipulated me into cutting my hair really short because he wanted me to spend less time with my mother because she had to wash me and my sister's hair and we all had really long hair. So he wanted her to have less time taking care of us. Because he's a selfish guy. He just wanted more attention from her. He's like jealous of children kind of person. My mother's not married to him anymore. I'm not in contact with my mother anyway. But yeah. And he convinced me to cut my hair really short. So I got a bob, and unfortunately I do have really wavy hair. And so it just puffed up. And it was so short I couldn't even tie it back. So I got really terribly teased. And I remember I was in intermediate school, which is like middle school, like 11, 12. And I knew that my hair would be kind of wavy if I wet it. So what I did was before like a school dance, school social, I wet my hair. I just let it air dry, so it just kept the waves. And I remember going into the girls' restroom, and there was a bunch of other girls there, and they all like gathered around me, like, "Oh wow, what did you do to your hair?" So it was like when I first discovered that my hair isn't straight. Hair is super not straight. So much work. Lazy ass already overwhelmed, normally showering. Yeah, I don't do much with my hair. I tend to brush it only right before I wash it. So like usually like once a week. And then when I wash it, like just shampoo and condition. I just shampoo my scalp and I condition the ends. And like from the nape of my neck down. And then I just put it up in you know, one of those towel. It's not a towel, it's like a little microfiber pocket thing. And you put it over the back of your head with your hair out in front of you, and then you twist it and you button it back. And I let it dry that way for the most part, and then if it's still wet, like it takes a few days to dry, and I'll put it up in a bun, like I'll just twist it, and that seems to help form the curls and keep it from just puffing up. But I don't use any gel or mousse or hair oil or anything. Like that's literally what I do, is just unscented shampoo and conditioner, and then just air dry it basically. And I have my waves. Some of my waves are actually a bit almost like ringlets, like loose ringlets. But yeah, I'm not like actually using curling irons or anything. I don't use any heat on my hair or anything like that. Also bundle my hair up in a ball. Can have some cute waves. Yeah, that's basically all I do. Like, you can fully, you know, curl it, like put it up in curlers or use a curling iron, all that stuff, but I don't. I'm not worried about being that put together. My hair is just gonna be how it is, just naturally, basically. But yeah, mostly I just wanted to catch up and tell people how I was doing. I don't think I'll do any video game, any gaming today. I do want to get back to Baldur's Gate, but as I mentioned, I've been feeling a bit disconnected and that's been feeling unsatisfying. So like at the end of a stream, I'll feel like unhappy, which I don't want. So I think I'll try again on my next scheduled stream day, which would be Saturday for if you're in US time zone, or Sunday if you're in my time, my Kiwi time, mage time. But yeah, I think I'll pretty much leave it there. I don't know if we should raid anyone. Have a flat iron and curling iron. Are they collecting dust? Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm worried about damaging my hair with heat treatments, especially because I've been graying since I was in my mid-teens. So I still have quite a lot of brunette hair, but I have some pretty significant gray at this point. So it does make the hair more brittle and drier. My hair tends to be pretty dry prone. That's why I do make sure to moisturize it, and I might play around with like homemade hair masks because I am very sensitive to fragrance, so I can't have anything fragrance, but it's really hard to find hair masks that are unscented. So I might just play around with making my own concoctions. You can like buy individual ingredients like shea butter, coconut oil, that kind of stuff, and mix up your own hair masks. So I might look into doing that for like the ends of my hair, help get some more moisture into it. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it the way it is. Afros are a bastard to take care of, yeah. I can only imagine. Love my comfy voice, thank you. Remember the hair picture on Twitter? So long and wavy and purple cape. Yeah, I still have the hair, not the cape though. I forgot that cloak. It was very hard to fit 13 years of my life into 3 suitcases. 2 big ones and a small one. And even then I was overweight, so... Maybe I'll get another one eventually. But yeah, for now, I am capeless. Womp womp. Except this one. I do have this one. Alright, let me have a look at who's around on Twitch, see if we want to do a little raid. Oh, Dorian's playing Elden Ring. I haven't said hi to Dorian for a while. He's a little ghost guy. Met him through pudding boxes. He was a sweet guy too. I consider him a friend, but I feel like I don't know if I've lost the privilege of calling people friends if I haven't been in contact with them for like years. So yeah. Let's go give him some buffs for Elden Ring. I don't know if it's his first playthrough or what, but he's a sweet guy. He's got a little ghost avatar. If you'd like to go and say hi to him, I would appreciate it. And yeah, we'll try again on Saturday. See if we can do some Baldur's Gate. I'm gonna have to backtrack a little bit because I think I need to redo talking to the people at the creche because I was basically avoiding everyone.
Haere mai ki te kai.
I know. It's okay. I'm ending stream. So yeah, I think that's gonna be better because I was just avoiding talking to anyone because I didn't want to piss off the Githyanki, but apparently you can unlock some things by talking to everyone, so I will redo that part because I don't know. It was just I lost a bunch of progress. Unfortunately, it didn't save when I went down into the Underdark again. So that's okay. We'll redo it. I'll see you Saturday. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.
Kia kaha, kia maya, kia manawa nui. Mā te wā.